impossible to ignore. The rich blood flowed out of me, rhythmically, with cramps that made me gasp aloud, as though my body was trying with all its might to expel the fetus. For the last 11 weeks, I had worked hard to not get emotionally invested in this pregnancy. I hadn't spent time researching baby names. I hadn't imagined how much my husband would enjoy teaching my son how to fish. I hadn't even glanced at the baby clothes rack at the back of the Gap. I was terrified of making myself vulnerable to the heartrending grief I'd experienced the last time, when I had spent weeks crying at my desk in our sunny Soho office as my coworkers looked on, embarrassed, unable to coax me out of my depression. When the bleeding began, I realized that I had been fostering hope, deeply buried in myself, but the blood eradicated that hope. This type of bleeding left no room for doubt. I gave myself a morning to cry, to vent my frustration, and then I scheduled a doctor's appointment to begin to prepare myself for the next round of conception. When the OB gave me my hope back, I was angry. I just wanted to get the miscarriage over with. I wanted to fast forward to trying to conceive again. There was a tear in the placenta, the fetus was in danger, but the heart was still beating. He told me that it was too early to do anything other than wait and see. I was stuck in pause, and I could feel hope sneaking back into my heart. My doctor strongly suggested that we cancel our 2-week vacation in Block Island. He wanted me to remain close in Manhattan in case we needed to do a D&C. He warned me that there was a chance I could hemorrhage. I remembered the dreams I'd had the last time, after he cleaned out my uterus of another failed pregnancy, the conviction I nurtured that he had somehow missed the fetus and that it was still growing in a deep corner inside of me. If we stayed in Manhattan, the odds that I would lie on a hard examination table trying to block out the sounds of the vacuum draining the burgeoning life out of me were high. Amidst all the chaos of my emotions, I was clear about one thing. This pregnancy would end naturally. I calmly informed him that we would be going against his medical advice. Miscarrying would be bad, but having it cost our yearly vacation would be utterly devastating. I realized that if I was going to lose another pregnancy, I might as well do it in the sun on the beach. We piled our suitcases into our little red Toyota RAV4 and drove 4 hours to the Point Judith ferry. The cramping, like early labor pains, was so painful that I braced my feet on the dashboard and ground my teeth. I questioned my decision more than once, but I never asked to turn around. Once the ferry left port, the anger and stress of the last few days dissipated. The sun was shining, the gulls were calling, and I could see the beautiful cliffs of Block Island getting nearer. The bleeding subsided over the next few days, and I started to relax and enjoy our vacation. I assumed that nature had taken its course and that I was no longer pregnant. Nausea still dogged me every day, but I attributed it to a combination of lingering pregnancy hormones and a nasty psychological trick, more of that tenacious hope. I returned to the doctor's office 2 weeks later, tanned and relaxed, but still nauseous in the New York City July heat. Not wanting to be a coward, I kept my eyes trained on the glowing green screen of the ultrasound machine as he placed a cold probe on my stomach. I saw Jack immediately. He had gone from being a lump to a fetus with a clear head and a body. The heartbeat was so strong and regular that the entire room seemed to pulse with it. In that instant, all the fear and hope that I had held back for so long flooded over me, and I burst into tears. Jack is now 8. He has the most amazing smile. It's infectious, lights up his entire face, filling his huge caramel brown eyes with specks of gold. You can't help but smile with him, even if he's trying to explain why he chose to leave a trail of bloody snot on the wall. He's easygoing and makes friends easily, but he frequently gives us glimpses of an iron will, teaching himself how to ride a two-wheeler by himself and ice skate, holding back tears when he falls. He attacks life just as he did in the womb and greets every day with naked joy, as if he knows how close he came to